While I won't say Yugiri is my favorite character in Zombieland Saga, I will say I think she has my favorite backstory in Zombieland Saga. This was a very anticipated one. I was saying last week how I didn't know if it would be a 2 or 3-parter. Two-parter definitely feels like the appropriate pacing, especially given the fact that we still have a lot of stuff modern day with Zombieland Saga that we need to do. I also was questioning while watching this season how many seasons or movies it might be. I'm definitely feeling like either one or two things are going to happen. Either one, Zombieland Saga movie, which I think is a very likely scenario given the fact that Zombieland Saga is massively popular in Japan. While the West doesn't seem to appreciate it as much as it should be, it sells like hotcakes over there. It's one of the most, literally most profitable originals in quite some time. So a movie to tie it all up could be likely, especially given the fact that the reporter angle, based on the preview, going to be a factor next week. Seems like he's confronting our boy Kotaro. And then after that, maybe another 2 episodes. There's still more story left to tell, but I think a movie could tie it together, or a 3rd season to wrap it up. But I don't think it will last past either a movie or season 3. That will conclude it, I believe. Watching this episode, really putting the focus on saving Saga, re-establishing a Saga, pretty much getting the confirmation that the bartender that Yugiri visits on more than one occasion is without a doubt the old man, the grandpa from back in the day. The rest of the characters, I think, are either descendants or were just made to look like our central cast to make us understand and kind of have that bit of fan service. I like to believe it's descendants, like Kichi as an example is most likely, our boy Kotaro's ancestor. But the grandfather, given the fact that he has some taboo zombie magic, like literally zombie dog back in the past. I mean, it looked like he died, right? And then he came to and seemingly he's still alive and kicking unless they're really trying to bait us around, but there's no reason you have a picture of them and, they're literally talking as if they've known each other for hundreds of years. So I think that's part of the reason is when he says, I am Saga, I think he's legit saying as such because, some zombie magic is definitely keeping him alive and kicking. And I think it's interesting that no matter the generation, there's someone that's trying to keep Saga alive and well, a place where people can be united. Back in the day, Kichi, and in the present day, Kotaro, right? And each have a different way of doing things. And to see an episode where you knew something bad was going to happen with the friend, I am glad that the friend didn't turn out to be, I would say, a scumbag. It's more of, based on how the world changed, some people only know how to do certain things. And it's kind of an interesting point of history, where society went from you could carry swords around and cut people down for looking at you the wrong way, to then having rule of law and make it so you can't do that. How do you fit in? Well, you take jobs and you take things that still allow you to stay true to your nature while not having to evolve with society's progression. And that's why he was saying, as long as someone like Kichi is just doing childish things, it's fine. He doesn't have to worry or interfere. But those who take up arms, like his division here, even though he wasn't agreeing to it, his people that were backing him literally were taking the violent means, and it ended in a pretty bloody scenario. I was totally expecting that when they went down in this swords showdown, we have the beautiful courtesan versus seemingly a master samurai. I mean, either A, they both would end up dead in that situation, or B, she would end up dead and maybe he'd have a change of heart. But seemingly it looks like, he didn't try that hard and wanted to go out because he just didn't fit in and secretly wanted, our boy to end up having his vision fulfilled. And the fact that she actually sacrificed herself, took the blame so things could happen, it makes sense not only why she has a scar around her neck, but I think it's just so intriguing. It really, really is. I mean, there's just so much beauty about this episode while being, I think, rather depressing in a lot of ways. I mean, there's definitely some hope and there's definitely some comedy, but for the most part, it felt like a rainy day. It felt like a storm was approaching. It was raining very hard outside, and the lightning and the thunder was coming closer and closer, and when it finally hit, it was a little too late. And it seems like, based on the messages they gave, our boy back in the past did it. He succeeded in what he wanted to do, but like with times changing, and he probably passed away, things change and, new revolutions come, and that's where most likely Kotaro comes in and takes over. I know I have seen some people say, oh, Kotaro is without a doubt Kichi from the past. No, if we really look at, I think it was season 1. I believe it was in season 1. It without a doubt looks like Kotaro was someone like our girl Sakura's classmate, right? I mean, that kind of feels like where they're going. So to me, I like the idea more of being like ancestral ties rather than just simply being like everyone just lasted thousands of years. The only one who seemingly did was the grandpa, and I kind of like that kind of scenario, so it was really cool to see that. The song at the end of the episode, I'm not sure if I'd say it's my favorite, but it's definitely in like the top 2, top 3. I mean, that song was so good. It felt like you were in a club that was starting to get going. You're like, okay, yeah, this is some energetic, and then it just hits you, and it completely knocked my socks off. That was great. It had this nice flair to it. The way they were dancing, it was completely different than anything they've done. It had this unique energy while getting the crowd going, and, you know, even though it's just some 3D animation we're watching on our screen, you know, you kind of wanted to bounce around to it as well. It was just so good, and it's nice to see the Zombieland Saga, after having like 21 episodes, give or take, you know, it still feels like it's as fresh as when I jumped into episode 1 not knowing what it was going to be, thinking Zombieland Saga was this weird horror zombie show because the way Mappa promoted it, it was very mysterious, and then it hits you and it's actually some comedy and it's an idol show, it's a drama show, a little bit of horror here and there, and it's really interesting to see how the show has evolved. I mean, it's massively popular in Japan, but it's always shocked me that it's never had the same reception over any other country. Like, sure, it has a good following, but it's not as explosive as I think it should be. I mean, idol shows aren't the thing I push away from the most. Like, it's kind of like the genres I'm least interested in, sports and then idol shows, right? But idol shows, there's been quite a few that I've really enjoyed, so it's not my natural pushback against. But even then, like, there's so much cute and unique things about this show that I would think so many people would flock to it. And I really thought Season 2 would blow up a lot more. Season 1, a little understandable, no one knew about it. But Season 2 seems like it's just like around the same hype level, at least from where I'm seeing it. And I can only say, like, if you're liking this show, spread it around. Like, it's good. And like, I'm not worried about not getting a movie or a Season 3. It's gonna happen. The music sells so much that it funds itself. But I just wish more people would stream it and discuss it, because it's a really good show. And for a backstory that's been hyped up for so long, it hit it out of the park. It's dramatic. It answers a lot of things while making me feel like characters aren't being forgotten and they aren't just there to be the pretty face in the background. That mother, big sister role, I think, really shines in this episode, and it's going to be interesting to see where the last few will take us. We kind of have an idea of where episode 10 will go, but 11 and 12 are the bigger questions and seeing where they're going to go from here. But let me know your thoughts and feelings down below, your favorite moment, and where do you think the whole confrontation between Kotaro and Detective is going to go, because looks like the cat's about to be out of the bag. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, share your support, and hit that subscribe button if you happen new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.